Chiloane will explain how parents who applied for grade 1 and 8 pupils will receive a placement offers. Let's take you live there now.
Pressure schools and 277 secondary schools that are high pressure schools. I will show you the top 20 schools. In primary school, we have High School Acacia in Tshwane West, and Tshwane West is also one of our pressure areas. As the school has capacity of 246 and it got applications, 1,476 applications. So we've listed the top 20 high pressure schools within this presentation, but there are 292, as I've said, as primary schools that are high pressure schools. And in high schools, Gauteng School of Specialization, which the good thing about this is it's a township school as well. It's got capacity of 275. It received 2,641 applicants. This is a change because it shows that our township schools, their performance is demonstrated through this particular process, that parents are having confidence in our township schools and they want their learners to go there. So it received 2,641. That is followed by Hoër School Langehoven in Tshwane West. And these high pressure schools, majority of them are in the areas that we know. It's Ekurhuleni South, primary school, you find Ekurhuleni North, Tshwane West, and Tshwane South as well. So there are pressure areas will be seen by these schools. They actually even drive us to see where are these areas where we have pressure. So Gauteng Source is the number one in this placement period of 2,641 for a space of 275, and the list goes down. And there's quite a number, especially from Ekurhuleni South, within this top 20 schools, high pressure schools, in terms of applications. So the main question that parents are asking themselves, what next? The interventions that we have to ensure that we are able to create space and accommodation for these learners. We have set up a plan, and this is what is in motion now. When I speak like this, there's something happening on the ground in terms of increasing the capacity for schools to be placed, for learners to be placed rather. So we have got two programs that we are running strongly, building new schools, completing schools that were incomplete. We have a very successful program of self-build, which I'll speak to as well, and also mobiles. So these are construction work that are currently taking place to ensure that we create enough capacity for us to be able to place our. Remember, Gauteng system is growing. This year alone, the system grew by over 24,000 learners. This is the growth that we have received. So if you translate 24,000 learners and you say a learner is 1,000, a school is one learner, so it means the system grew by 24 schools. So we needed 24 extra schools to what we have now. And as things are going with the growth of the in-migration into Gauteng province, we are anticipating that the system will grow to the size of Free State in the next 5 years. That's what the research tells us. So the need and the urgency of building this infrastructure to accommodate all this growth in the system is what has been driving us. So it's high on the agenda of the department that we need to increase and build capacity to ensure that we are able to deal with the in-migration into our province with the growth. And the growth is rapid, especially with the rapid growth in urbanization across the world. There's movement from rural areas to urban centers. So Gauteng is one of those urban centers that's growing very rapidly. So the approach, as I've said, is to conclude incomplete schools that we're currently building. These are schools such as Maibuye that will be opening, Beach Acres that will be opening, so completing also those that Rasteval. So there's quite a number of schools that we already started building. We're going to complete them before the beginning of the academic year. Furthermore, we're going to look into repurposing some classrooms. because you know that some schools take classrooms and they say it's for a particular special purposes. We are going to be looking into those classrooms because we need classroom space. So we'll be coming in to ensure that if a classroom can be utilized for this, we will be able to do that. So schools must understand that this year we're not going to be told that there's a classroom for this purpose or that purpose. If we need space, you'll have to work. So an appeal is that let's work together with schools. Let's ensure that we create space. The system is growing. We have a constitutional obligation that we place our children into schools, and we'll need to work together on that. So we will be looking to repurposing special classrooms to create space to place our learners. So the self-build program, as I've spoken about it, that it's a successful program that we managed to build 1,176 classrooms, spaces from the past 3 years, at a cost of 587 million, and that is about 7 schools. Literally, it's about 7 schools if you translate it into schools. So that's 39 schools rather. Sorry, 39 schools. As opposed to if you build a new school, with that money would have built 7 schools, because the school costs about 80 million on average. So very successful program. We'll be continuing with it. We have requested a budget from Treasury, which they were finalizing. We're looking to build about 2,300 extra additional classrooms. Through this self-build program, we will give schools budget so that they are able to build that additional classroom capacity. Obviously, we identify schools with spaces. Some schools don't have spaces. Literally, you can't really do much in terms of a space to build additional classroom capacity. But those that do spaces, so we're investing in that particular program, which is highly successful. So we'll be having 2,300 classrooms being built through that program to increase our capacity. And if you translate that, you're looking at about additional capacity of about 80,000 spaces will be created through that particular program. And then we'll continue as well with the delivery of mobiles. So with mobiles, we're looking to source over 2,600 mobiles to alleviate this pressure. So also with that as well, we're looking at around about the same figure in terms of classroom space. 90,000 or so spaces will be created through that program. So these are the interventions that we are putting in place to ensure that we are able to place all learners. Because remember, as much as we've got the 270,000 that have complete applications that we placed, there's another 35,000 that I've not spoken to, that incomplete applications, which they will have a process later on. After we place the 270, we will be communicating with those parents, those 35,000 parents, with space offers. And obviously we'll say they need to comply in terms of application. You can't place a child if there's incomplete application. But we'll be offering them spaces together with together with the form. They need to come and complete the applications rather, and then we'll be offering spaces where space is available. They've lost the privilege of choosing a school because the applications are incomplete. And later on as well, from the 11th of December, we'll open for late applications as well. So we know that there will be that particular demand because we do have. So we're anticipating that a demand there. So that's what we're doing. Further, we've got satellite schools that we will be also be looking into establishing across, especially in high pressure areas. We'll be identifying vacant lands and working with immediate schools nearby so that we can set up these satellite schools across the province where there's a need. Already we do have a few of them, so we've seen that model works. So we'll continue with it so that we're able to place this excess pressure that we have, especially in our high pressure areas. So the new and replacement schools that are under construction, as I've spoken about, Bramfisha, Nkululisiwe, Simunye, Sempato, Ribanila, all these schools are schools that are currently under construction. We're pushing to complete them by the beginning of the academic year. So we want this, the contractors, I said to them that they need to work, if possible, 24 hours a day so that they are able to meet the deadline. So these are the schools that we are targeting for them to be ready for the academic year, to assist us to alleviate the pressure and create that particular school's classroom capacity that we need daily. So, with unplaced applicants, firstly, I said that you will be, yes, the unplaced, these are the ones that I said they've got incomplete applications. I repeat again that they are not eligible now. A parent can assume that because they submitted the child's name, they're eligible. No, they're not eligible because they didn't complete. So they'll have to wait for the process when we are done with these ones. Then we'll communicate with them via SMS, and also the parents are urged to go from time to time, go to the GDE admissions to check for an update from time to time. From there, they will see an update so that update will say, will open up for them the incomplete applicants, and the schools that will be available, the system will show what is available. They will only be able to apply for those particular schools, and still they'll have to comply with the documentation that is needed. That's important. The parents must know that they have to all the time comply. And those that have complied, they might not be happy with some of the school place, the offers, they have a right to appeal. So the 270,000 are the ones that have a right to appeal. They can appeal within 7 days, and it's online. And they must remember that the decision from the appeal, once it's signed off by the MEC, which is myself, it's final. It's final. So we're very objective. Parents must not assume that because there was an offer, therefore I will not take. If the appeal is there and I can see that the process could be handled differently, there's evidence, a lot of evidence of many a times we have insisted that schools must take their learners. So parents must be assured that the appeal process is quite credible, and it's a process they can undertake if they're not happy with the offers that they would have received from this process. So those is for those that have, for those parents that are the 270,000 parents. But the rest, late applications and incomplete applications, have no right to appeal. The space that you are offered is the space that is there. So parents can decide to take it or not, but we urge parents to take it. Because our role, as I've said earlier, that is to comply constitutionally, and the Constitution says is to ensure that the child is in school. So we comply constitutionally to ensure that we offer every child space. So parents can do that. So those appeals obviously will be processed within 14 to 21 days of the receipt of it. So it's going to be a very speedy process that will be dealing with appeals. But I would urge parents that please work with us. It's not an easy process that we undertake, as you are all aware. We all want schools that we want. But sometimes, as I've outlined, I've showed you the high-pressure schools that 277, especially secondary schools. I'll focus there because that's where there's a lot of pressure in terms of applications. Parents work with us in that space. That we know that perhaps you wanted certain schools and those schools are full. But where would be taking your learner if we don't place them at a school that you have preferred? It's a school that is immediate to that school that you preferred. It's not a school, we're not going to take your child, if you have applied in Hoërskool Menlo, then we take your child and place them in Winterveld. We're not going to do that. We're not irrational. You know, we look for immediate schools that are within the area, because we know that a parent's decision to apply for a child in a particular area is informed by also the socio-economic status, that are they working there or are they living there. So there are many factors. So we are considerate of those particular factors. So when we place your child, we will be placing your child next to or immediately close to where you would have preferred, and trust the capacity of our schools to perform. Our province is a high-performing province in terms of, as you know, with the matric results were always above 80-84%. So it's a high-performing province. It's not a province where the results are a bit low. So you can trust our schools. And even our township schools, the most the most in-demand school in Gauteng currently is a school in Katlehong, in demand. So it shows you that even these township schools that parents maybe initially had a view about, but now they are, and in fact most parents are moving their kids. They might stay in a suburban area, but they go and apply a child in a township because the performance of these township schools and the quality that they get from the school. So across our province, our schools are of high quality in terms of performance. We're working very hard to ensure that we bring all our schools at the same level. And so far, because of the narrowing, and that shows even in the narrowing of the gap between the performance of former, what you call Model C school and the township school, it has narrowed to about 7% or 9% this year. So it's literally not there in terms of, if you differentiate in terms of quality of passes. So there's passes there. So with that said, just quick recap for all parents. From the 4th of September, SMSs will be released. If you don't get an SMS, go to the GD admissions page and you'll find some form of communication that will be there. All parents will be communicated on that day. They'll receive some form of communication in terms of placement offers. And this process will continue until we are done, until the end of the year. We'll ensure that we place them as quickly as possible. But because of how we are improving every year with this system, we will be able to do this process much quicker than we did last year, so that we can begin to deal with those incomplete applications and also begin to deal with the late applications. So we'll be moving very quick. It's a process that we're working very strong with our team from POS, our districts and our schools. Every day we're working together to ensure that we find and create space for all these learners that have come forward for us to place the 270,000. So if you need further assistance, parents can go to districts. They can visit our district offices. We've got 15 district offices. They can go there anytime to ensure that they are able to get help if they need further details and assistance on acceptance and placement of offers. And furthermore, applicants who do not accept placement offers, I have to highlight it, within 7 school days will be auto-placed at a school that we made an offer. So we will place, so you will have 7 days to apply your mind. If you don't make a decision in 7 days, we place the child. Because we really have to create space. Because sometimes you can get offers from 4 schools that you've applied for, and then you delay. So the delay means the system recognizes this 4 as being occupied. So to open up, we're going to take decisions. 7 days, the parent doesn't make a decision, we place the child. Then we free up spaces so that we can continue with this process of placing learners. So 7 days, parents will have 7 days from the 4th of September until that 7 days lapse to accept or reject the placement offer. So, and it's important to repeat again that prioritization will be for the complete applications. More importantly, those with verifiable home address. The feeder zone will be prioritized. So when we place, the first criteria is the school feeder zone, the home address. And then from there, as I've said, the criteria, the sibling and the school feeder zone. So those are the 2 that are very critical as when we make decisions on placing learners. And then if that doesn't, we're also looking to place learners to schools where spaces are available nearby, closest to their feeder zone. So as I've showed you, the high pressure air schools, 270 spaces for Katlehong source, 2,600 applicants. So obviously there's no space for over 2,400 learners there. So we'll need to work with parents, need to work with us that there will be 2,400 parents who will not get spaces in Katlehong source. And we will place those learners in schools nearby the school, the area. So parents work with us that we will be making you offers from schools nearby to those that you've applied for, and those that are nearby to your home address, and those are nearby to the previous school feeder zone. We'll be looking into place. So work with us in that process. Take the spaces, the offers that we are making. Every school in our province provides good education. And we are working around the clock to ensure that we even get those schools that parents are in doubt of into the level that Gauteng is known for, to be a high-performing province. And we have many research data that tells us that Gauteng is providing quality education. Even research across the world, we are providing good everywhere. So they need to trust us there. So with that said, the contact details are there. I'm sure you can see them. You have the toll-free number, WhatsApp, hotline, email, the website. You can also reach us on our social media pages if needs be. We do respond. We have responded to a couple of parents who have come on our social media pages for queries and intervention. So with that said, thank you very much. I wish all the parents all the best, and please take what you are offering your child. Gauteng, we're offering good education across. Thank you very much.